on Business Incorporated today. Nigerian delegates finally arrived Dubai for the Gitex Global Exhibition. Ghanaian Central Bank seeks to make its digital currency available to offline users. Morocco officially unveils its latest investment and export brand, Morocco Now. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Ini John Mekwa. First, the markets. We kick off this midweek edition with intraday market numbers from major equities in Africa, where negative sentiments trailed stocks. As intraday, Nigeria's NGX market back from a one-day holiday fell 0.07% at intraday, while South Africa's JSE index declined by 0.4%. Egypt's EGX 30 also dropped by more than 1% at intraday, and the Nairobi Stock Exchange closed Tuesday's session on a negative note. Over to the Middle East, where the picture is quite opposite as intraday. The Abu Dhabi index rose marginally 0.01%. Dubai's index traded higher 1.06%. Elsewhere in the region, Saudi Arabia and Qatar indexes rose by similar margin at intraday, 0.69% each. Let's see what's happening in Europe now. Stocks were subdued today amid more mixed sentiments globally overnight as investors digested a slew of corporate earnings. Now let's bring in Christy, joining us from Frankfurt for the details. Hello, Christy. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Now that I put it in.
Okay, I think we'll have to give Christy some time. She's trying to get set for it. While we are waiting for Christy, now let's see what's happening in... Oh, okay, I'll enter Christy is set. Hello, Christy, can you hear me now?
Hi, I hear you now. Hi, hello.
Hi. So the Frankfurt Book Fair, the world's largest, opened in person today after going almost fully digital last year amid the coronavirus pandemic. What are you hearing in Frankfurt about the state of the global publishing industry today?
Yes, it's a big day here in Frankfurt. The big book fair is always a big event, so it was, of course, a bit sad last year when it couldn't really happen. So yeah, this year what we're hearing is that the publishing industry has passed the COVID stress test, so to speak. We're seeing a lot of excitement, a lot of strong figures from this industry. Just to name a couple for you, we saw an 8% growth in book sales in the U.S. in 2020, and here in Germany we saw a 20% increase in online book sales, and this was partly due to the fact that many brick-and-mortar bookshops were pushed to go online last year. But what we're seeing is that book sales remain strong. Some of the strong segments that we saw were young adult books, or books for teenagers, I should say. We also heard one comment from someone saying that kids eventually get bored with playing video games, apparently, and will also pick up books from time to time. We also saw strong performance for non-fiction books, for example, cookbooks and do-it-yourself books. Now, the industry, it's not all rosy. This industry is also dealing with supply chain issues, having difficulties getting their hands on raw materials, so there is some worry about supplies coming up this Christmas season. But all in all, spirits are high at the book fair this year.
Yeah, I can tell even from your face the spirits are high. Well, moving to other issues now. The head of Germany's Green Party has come out against approving the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is supposed to connect Europe to Russia's natural gas reserves. Now, the pipeline is already built and energy prices are still extremely high in Europe. So what's behind his move?
Right. Well, so what we heard is that the co-leader of Germany's Green Party, Annalena Baerbock, has basically come out and accused Russia's Vladimir Putin of playing games with Europe's energy supply. And we've spoken about this before because we've obviously been seeing high energy prices here in Europe and in other parts of the world for several weeks now. Now, as a reminder, this party has been against the pipeline from the very beginning. The pipeline is complete now. It's seeking regulatory approval. Regulators have until January early January, to decide whether they will allow natural gas supplies to flow from Russia to the EU. Now, Baerbock has essentially said that Europe is not in a position to make more or less a deal with the devil, is I think how she would characterize it. She basically says Russia, or is accusing Russia of strategically lowering its supply of energy to Europe in order to get this pipeline passed, and basically compared it to blackmail, more or less. Now, her party is currently in discussions about potentially forming a coalition government with the Social Democrats and the neoliberal Free Democrats, so this was clearly her stating her party's stance. So if they do successfully form a government, this could have serious consequences for this pipeline next year.
And, well, let's talk a little bit about the EU and Poland issue. The European Commission has threatened Poland with sanctions after a Polish court ruling declared parts of EU law were not compatible with the Polish law. Now, is this likely to happen, and what sort of economic fallout could this have for Europe?
Right. Well, this has led very quickly to quite a lot of tension between Poland and the EU, between Poland and the European Commission, the European Parliament, these different European Union players here. Now, the point in question is that Poland is challenging is a real pillar of the European Union. So this is why feathers have been quite ruffled over this decision here in Europe. Now, Poland is already accusing the Commission of withholding 36 million euros in coronavirus relief funds over this decision. Now, Poland is particularly reliant on EU funding. They're really not in a position to, for example, leave the bloc without forfeiting huge financial incentives. But what they have done now is today we've heard from Poland saying that they're willing to more or less block progress on climate talks that the EU will be engaging with other world leaders next week. Yeah, tensions are really mounting here. Whether we will be seeing sanctions, it's hard to say. We are seeing the Germany's outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel moving around, speaking with different parties, trying to diffuse tensions and trying to not push Poland too far, is how she sees it. So it will be a space we're definitely watching.
Yeah, we'll certainly watch and follow up on the story. Thank you so much, Christy. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
So let's move to the UK now. Following our conversation on inflation this morning, there's been a lot of reactions. As expected, Juliana has some of those reactions joining us from our London studio. Hello, Juliana.
Good afternoon, Innie.
So the state pension is to rise by 3.1% after the inflation, which we talked about this morning, dipped in September. This will certainly affect basic state pension, right?
It is going to affect state pension for retirees that are relying on the government to support them in their older age. Now, typically, the British government decide on how much they're going to increase state pension in September. This is the month that they use to determine how the cost of living is going to affect people of a certain age. And, of course, we had the inflation data this morning showing that it dipped very, very marginally from 3.2% to 3.1%, which means state pension from April will rise by that amount, which I think is the equivalent to about £5.50 every single week. Now, good, obviously, any sort of increase in your pay packet is good news, but of course critics have said this is not enough, and this is because a couple of weeks ago the Chancellor withdrew a previous announcement that they were going to raise the triple lock pension by 8.3%. Now, they used, well, the government cited the pandemic and the fact that, you know, so much money had been ripped out of the coffers, and by not increasing state pension by 8.3%, the government was saving, I believe, about £4.5 billion. So yes, in some sense, you know, this is good news, but in other news, it's not that great because it isn't enough as it should be. Inflation is a serious concern here at the moment. Of course, lots of central bank governors across the world have been saying it's transitory, but the only sticking factor in the UK is this rise in wholesale gas prices. It is affecting the continent, but particularly here in Britain. It's risen by about 450% this year. We are starting to see the effect it's having on businesses, and today's data did show that it is starting to affect the cost of goods. We are expecting before the end of the year now that the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey will increase interest rates, which are currently at a historic low of 0.1%. They could rise to 0.25%.
And how is the market reacting to the inflation figures?
Well, the FTSE is in the red. It was in the red yesterday, very much in the red at intraday, similar to some of our European counterparts. The FTSE All-Share is down 0.06%. The FTSE 100 down 2 at 0.01%. And the FTSE 250 is down by 0.22%. In the currencies market, the British pound also down on the US dollar by 0.21%, down on the euro by 0.10%, and down on the Japanese yen by 0.11%. Worth mentioning, INI, which is a growing story here in the UK about COVID figures, a very, very big topic of concern. Prime Minister's questions has just been taking place, and we are expecting an urgent update, televised update by the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid. Yesterday, we had the highest death toll that we've seen since March. Over 230 people died, over 40,000 positive cases. The trajectory is going completely in the wrong way. So some of the fallers that were dragging down the FTSE were the airlines, TUI, Wizz Air, IAG, the British Airways owner, all dropping down. Lots of concerns, lots of mumblings that perhaps, could we be heading into another lockdown? Don't want to say it. But, as we've learned from this government, things are leaked to the media before they're leaked to, official ways, which would be a presentation by the minister. We're not going to hear anything about a lockdown today. There would probably be some sort of enforcement now of wearing masks and people to kind of modify how they are behaving themselves. But certainly these COVID figures are worrying. And of course, sorry, just one more thing. Just before I came into the studio, we did hear that Russia potentially are going to be going into some sort of lockdown because of rising case numbers there. So much so that President Vladimir Putin has said that he will not be attending COP26, which is taking place in Glasgow in 10 days. Wow,
worrying that is. Well, in other issues, we hear Britain's competition watchdog has fined Facebook £50 million for breaching an enforcement order. What's the backstory?
Yeah, this is a big, big story for Facebook. They're under a lot of scrutiny at the moment, not just in Europe, but in their own country. So much so, we're hearing reports that they'll be rebranding. So we'll all be keeping our eyes peeled for the new name of Facebook next week. But no, serious issue here. The Competition and Markets Authority, the competition regulator, really unhappy with the way Facebook have been handling this competition issue when it relates to the GIF owner, Jiffy. Now, for any of our viewers that use smartphones, you may see some really funny pictures that people send, not emojis, but pictures people send. Facebook have bought that. They bought it for a small amount of money, but the regulator stepped in because, again, they feel that the tech titan is overstepping its mark when it comes to how much power it has over the internet. People use these Jiffies on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, and if Facebook are the owner of them, they're concerned that they may start causing some issues when it comes to pricing. Now, they've asked Facebook to regulate and provide information on how they are going to remain competitive, and they said that Facebook has basically ignored them twice, which is why they've given them that fine. And also, I believe a separate fine has been issued of £500,000 because Facebook have changed its compliance officer in the UK twice, and they've done so without forewarning the CMA. So they're not happy with Facebook at all, which is why they've received this fine.
All right, Juliana, thank you so much for the update and details. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So let's move to the United States now, where stock index features were a little changed. That was early trade today after the S&P 500 posted its fifth straight winning session as strong earnings numbers lift sentiment. Futures contracts tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average added just 2 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures both traded marginally lower. Now, we have our correspondent, Maria Bird, giving us a summary of yesterday's trading activities.
The U.S. stock market showed major gains on Tuesday, as this is the fifth straight session of gains. The S&P 500 was up 0.74%, the Dow Jones up 0.56%, and the Nasdaq up 0.71%. It is clear that the healthcare and technology industries are playing a major role in this, as Johnson & Johnson shares added 2.3% to the S&P 500. Many investors are banking on quarterly reports that will show gains in these industries. The coming weeks are only set for increases in the potential of the U.S. stock market.
We'll take a break now. After the break, we'll get updates from the ongoing Gitex Global Exhibition and, of course, much more. So stay with us. It's Business Incorporated on Channels Television. You're welcome back. Well, this year's Gitex exhibition is celebrating the major digital transformation that has been achieved over the last few years, promising safe, smart, and seamless technology. Conversations on financial inclusion, deepening connectivity, and some of the issues in focus. We have our correspondents in Dubai, Mayowa Adegoke, now to bring us up to date on what's going on there. Hello, Mayowa. Good afternoon.
Hi, Ini. It's so good to see you. Good afternoon.
Good to see you too, hopefully. Well, finally, we hear that our delegates are there. Tell us, have you had interactions with them? Have you met them? What are they talking about?
Yes, Ini, it's day 4 of the 5-day event, and the Nigerian delegation has finally arrived. I have spoken to the startup founders that are here. Total of 9 of them have come to showcase their digital products. And of course, they are bummed that they are here quite late, and it's been a stressful journey for them, I hear. But they show optimism that they are here at last, and they hope to make the most of the 2 days that they have. The digital products that they've brought, you have solutions for issues like financial inclusion for farmers, you have solutions for mental health care. You also have solutions for safe transportation. These are some of the solutions that they brought, and hopefully they do make the most of the 2 days that they have as Gitex ends tomorrow.
And how is the Nigerian stand there? How does it look like? How busy is it?
Well, it actually looks, good enough. It's okay. You have the Nigerian delegation there, members, the startup founders are there. And I've been here since morning, so I've seen that there's been some footfalls as well. So you have a couple of people coming around asking questions. People have shown interest. So which is good, because ultimately for a platform like this, it's important to network. This is the kind of place where you find people who fund your ideas. This is the kind of place where you network to meet people who can collaborate. So you're looking for strategic partners. You're looking for investors. You're looking to also learn what others are doing. This is the right place to do it, because you've got startups, people in tech coming from across the world and gathering here at the event. So definitely things are looking good so far.
And who are the other countries participating, and what's the conversation there?
So there are many countries participating from across the world. And as you mentioned in the intro, conversations around inclusion. One strong theme that they're pushing for this is forging ahead. As you know, we're coming out of a pandemic. The whole world has felt the impact of that. We've also seen how tech played an important role in making sure the world remained connected, still sharing information, people working from home. So now we're looking at how can the world come together and create solutions to help them forge ahead. One of the startup founders I spoke to the name of the app they're pushing is called Region Space, and they are looking to provide therapy online for people. And if you look at the cultural, challenges sometimes, people not wanting to be identified as having mental problems or mental challenges, and just coming out of a pandemic, some of the impact on personal lives, people just having mental challenges, mental illness, and all that just because of that pandemic. So they're looking at providing therapists to people. You don't need to go anywhere. You can just be where you are. You can access it anonymously. So these are some of the solutions that are coming out from this platform. So definitely the whole conversation is geared towards moving the world forward and just doing better with technology.
All right, Maiwa, thank you so much. I will get updates from you subsequently as the exhibition progresses.
Thank you.
So back here in Nigeria, the president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the business community, are currently hosting the president of the Republic of Turkey, that's Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and his high-level delegation on a reciprocal visit, during which to probably complete some pending mutual and bilateral agreements between the two countries and some of their business concerns. It is important to note that Nigeria export to Turkey was at about $1.36 billion in 2029. That's according to United Nations Comtrade database. And in 2020, Nigeria was Turkey's top trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa with a trading volume of $754 million. And this is expected to rise to more than $1 billion. Well, let's move to Ghana now, where the Ghanaian Central Bank is seeking to make its digital currency, the ECD, available to offline users. The head of FinTech and Innovation at the bank said that the ECD is expected to facilitate transactions without the need for power or connectivity. The majority of Ghanaians, 84% of the population, is thought to have had access to electricity. That was in 2019. According to the World Bank data, only half of the country's population had access to internet back then. It's this lack of internet access that has compelled the bank to seek a solution that overcomes this challenge. Morocco has officially unveiled its latest investment and export brand, Morocco Now, an initiative designed to position Morocco as a world-class industrial and export platform to accelerate foreign investment. Morocco Now is slated to become a future-proof industrial platform aimed at capturing opportunities in a changing world where recent global changes generated new requirements such as environmental emergency, consumer expectation, pressures, and new regulations. They require economic players to adopt decarbonized production. Morocco Now relies on 4 distinct assets. Now sustainable renewable energies represented 37% of the energy mix in 2020. The objective is now to attain 52% by 2030. And let's go to Egypt now, where the state-run e-payment company soared today in its trading debut after the biggest initial public offering on the local exchange since 2015. E-finance for digital and financial investment jumped 40% to 19.51 Egyptian pounds, providing fresh incentive for authorities to push ahead in the long-stalled government program to take more companies public. Egypt is making headway in growing the rate of credit and debit card penetration and galvanizing mobile payments for e-commerce, but bottlenecks still remain. Well, that's the program today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Ini John Mekwa.